Hello everybody, this is Hero back with another Cataclysm Classic video, and I wanted to do a tanking play-by-play video, by which I mean I'm going to tank the dungeon and just tell you my thought process all the way through. Sometimes it's useful because you can see what a tank is doing in gameplay footage, but you don't have a sense of what they're anticipating or what they're preparing to do next for their GCDs. Oh, please don't. Okay, I got canceled. Good. Incidentally, this is the best farming spot that I have found in Aldham. Aldham is one of my favorite locations. We are here at 3 nodes. One shows up here by the stairs, one shows up right here where my character is, and a third one's over there. And on Mankirk, where the farming is completely insane, nodes do not survive longer than 5 or 6 seconds before someone swoops down. If you look up, you can see people just flying above you all the time looking for nodes passing you. So I like this spot. Anyways, back to the gameplay. So what I'm going to try to do is just talk to you through what I'm doing in the dungeon, the buttons I'm pressing. I also have the details monitoring spell usage over here so you can see it. But I'm going to open here, make sure I got my buffs on, Horn of Winter, get back on my mount. You can mount through most of this dungeon. And then we're just going to throw D&D down. We're going to pull the Wild Vortex from the right. Since this big guy's over here, we'll toss this down here. Get out our Outbreak. We'll grip this guy in. We'll go back, and then we're going to spread our diseases with Pestilence. So retarget that guy. Then I'm going to Death Strike to get my runes back. I'm going to put on my anti-magic shell because there's a lot of magic damage in here. So just so that I can spam out damage. And now I'm going to Blood Boil with all of my death runes as I got them all back. There's a free Blood Boil, and I'm just rune striking into Blood Boil. When you get down to a couple targets, you can convert that into your Heart Strike. Heart Strike is actually a really strong ability. It hits like a truck for like 2 targets or for cleave. But you can see here the majority of it's going to be Blood Boil damage. Move through here. Since we have the runic power, we're just going to pop our dude to get double diseases on. You can see how I did that. And then we spread it, so now we have double diseases. We'll just use Death Strikes here because we have our weapon out. We can also just what was I going to say? I was going to use my Empowered Rune Weapon, but I decided that's not what we're going to do. See how they're also basically running off? One tip for you guys going forward is if you're in a pack and your diseases are going to run off, what you can do is you can... Oh, I'm just going to put my buffs back on. Sorry, guys. I'll talk about it in a second. Get D&D down. You can just cast Pestilence again, and Pestilence will reapply all of your dots. So I'm pressing... I use Fortitude on that. What I just try to do is cycle defensives. Sorry, this is getting a little scattered, but you guys get what I'm saying here. We can also just kick. I'm looking to cycle my defensives so that I can stay active. So here's an example where we could have applied the dots one more time, but it's not that necessary. These are just normals as we're leveling up. But what I'm going to do here is put on my shell after I get in. This guy's going to kind of hit me here. These guys are going to cast spells, so we want to get aggro on them. We'll use our defensive ability to mitigate all the spell damage before we get to Death Strike, and then we can Blood Boil with these death runes. We know we have a Death Strike available, and then off you go. What I like about this is you won't do as much raw healing. Like you can see, like the rest of Shaman's doing a lot of healing here. Completely fine. But from my perspective, if I have a CD rolling, like Magic Shell, what it means is I don't need to worry so much about... oh, my buttons are all messed up. That's not good. Just get some aggro back. And we're going to Blood Boil. See how we have all these death runes? I have a whole bunch of Blood Boils right in a row. We don't even have our diseases out, but I don't really care. I just messed that up because my buttons got messed up. When I use the shift button, that's a problem. I got to fix that. It screws up the order, and I haven't locked those. So apologies, but you can see here, even insanely good players like myself completely screw up all the time. Just teasing. So when we have shell up, what we're trying to do is mitigate damage so that we can put out more. So it gets rid of all of the magic damage. Just put down D&D, Outbreak on, spread the diseases. We'll Death Strike once to get those to death runes so that we can go ham. We'll pop our Blood Tap to get one more, and then we Rune Strike to get these back. We got free Blood Boil. Off you go. We could now Heart Strike if we wanted because of the targets, but we'll just Death Strike to do priority damage. That Blood Rune was kind of a waste, I guess. So these things fell off. That was a bad call. I should have just spread them one more time like I was talking to you about, but I did not do that. No harm, no foul. This is not really difficult content, but you can see the thought process. We basically run on a 30-second window. So we go Outbreak and D&D are 30-second cooldowns, so we don't want to use those if we have another pull coming up like this one here. Messed up again. Alright. This is becoming a real problem. We can get our rune weapon out, cast it out, spread things out, press our button. Here we can do our weapon, so we're going to toss our weapon out to Blood Boil since we have a bunch of death runes here. Those guys blew it up, so we can switch to Heart Strikes. The point is we're doing damage, Rune Strike, Heart Strike, doesn't really matter. I'll spread these now. See, I used a Blood Rune to spread this. Now we have the full dots that we basically peeled off of the guy who was dying, and we put it on this Cloud Prince. And we're doing 20k damage. So that's a lot of Blood Boil damage, Death and Decay, and obviously Death Strike itself. This boss is just like in and out, but we can mitigate a lot of the damage with our anti-magic shell. I use this on the outside. You can use Fortitude on the inside if you think you need it. You don't have to open with D&D here, but might as well. Since we have the runes, what we're going to do is just float that one blood. You can see on the right, I'm floating it, and I just got back 2 runes. Now we can cast one more Heart Strike so that we can float again. Our runes are coming off, so let's recast these manually because we don't have an outbreak. We're going to use our CD so that we can mitigate this damage. We'll use this as a chance to pop our bones, get them back on. He's basically dead, so we'll reapply our diseases, excuse me. Rogue brain. And then we're just Death Striking into Rune Strike, back and forth. As soon as that one blood comes up, we press it so that our Rune Strikes will always bring back the correct runes. Maybe I'll talk about that throughout the rest of this dungeon. Oh, is that an upgrade? Yeah, it is. Alright. Sweet. Off we go. Transmog's still completely disgusting, but I can't do much about that. Horn of Winter. D&D down. Outbreak down. Wait for these guys to come in. Spread the diseases. We're going to time. We're going to Blood Boil since we have all these things because I know I can time my shell for this magic damage. Here it comes right now. Just toss on now. Blood Boil again. We're really not worried at all. We're going to spread these diseases in a second. Get the timing right there. Oh, yeah, we got it on. Okay. So even the last second there, we used our Blood Rune to spread them. By the way, that's one of the reasons why in AoE settings especially, we typically do not use up that final Blood Rune because we want to be able to Pestilence to respread things. Get back on our mount here, grab these 2 dudes up here, and off we go. This dragon, we can kind of pull into this pull, just because he takes a second to get off his little area. We'll put these here, get our dude out for super dots. We can spread those over to him again. It's worth it because we get all the dots. One thing you will find is you may have to taunt and use your Death Grip to get aggro back, which is completely fine. Chilling Blast, let's try to aim it here. We'll put up our defensive for it. Makes a lot of sense. You'll notice here my bone shield is dropping a lot, but it's partly because the content's not that difficult and I'm not focusing my attention very much on living. The healer here seems to be doing fine. You would tell because your HP would be dipping like below half if you needed to focus more of your attention on that. I've been being aggressive with my Blood Boils and my CDs, but that's my main encouragement to you when you're thinking about pulls, is think about what CDs you have available as the primary determinant for figuring out how to use your runes. I look at this pull and I see they're all stacked here, so we can go in, we can grab this guy, we can put the D&D down here. We'll have to get this guy in. We'll just use him as the target to spread. We're going to use our defensive right off the bat here. Got to taunt that guy because there's a pretty good chance that we do not have aggro on him. So now I'm going to rune strike these other guys to make sure I do get aggro. We're kind of down on runes now, so get a blood boil out. Put up our anti-magic zone. Put up our vamp because this guy's going to do a lot of damage to us. We could step in the green pool, by the way. We wanted to pull him out of there, but I just want to show you. It's like when things are dire, when you're missing tools. See how I'm rune striking? I still have that blood open. That's useful if I need to tap, but I'm just going to death strike. I got my rune back to get another death strike, so that was a blood tap. Do you see that? Into death strike. That's a really lovely combo. I could have rune tapped there. It's not the end of the world that I did not do it. I use it as a get out of jail free card. Here we get our big diseases out. We wait till everything's grouped up, then we outbreak into our spread, and now we're in full blood boil mode. This is going to do a lot of damage. We will flip into our other set. We used our weapon, for example, and now we'll death strike just to clean things up. We don't even worry about the fact that we were full on RP. It doesn't matter. We are just blasting damage. We can finish this off with some single target heart strikes. So there's, again, example of how good blood boil is when you have multi-targets. Maybe you should pick some of this stuff up. What is this guy saying? This sucks a bit. I'm not sure what he means. Oh, maybe he meant that that pull was more difficult. Was that the healer? No. That was the warlock? Maybe he just died. So coming up to this boss, again, we're just standing in good wins. There's nothing really significant here, but I'm just looking at... Where's my party members? Is some guy dead? Oh yeah, he's coming. Good, we have a chance to talk. So I am not using a lot of my CDs that we could be using. You didn't see a lot of rune taps yet. You've seen very few vampiric bloods. This is in part because even though it's a 1 minute CD, I'm using certain tools. Oh, this guy has just thought we have to go. Alright. I use certain tools for certain parts of the fight, by which I mean that if it's a magic damage that I'm dealing with, which is a lot of those packs at the beginning, and I'd rather just have... no, I don't care. I'd rather just have my magic shell going on. If I'm really in trouble with a big pull, I want my vampiric blood available. I do not want there to be some problem. So I just did a couple of things wrong there. I called my dude and then I did icy touch and I should have just pressed outbreak. Do you see that? We'll put on shell here. You see how good shell is, guys? It's insane. Spell damage reduced by 75%. That's way better as a button to press than trying to just get more healing from vamp blood when you are pressing blood boil in big packs. Do you see what I'm saying? That it's more important... That's some healer gear. It's more important to just mitigate the damage up front as a DK. Do we need to... than it is to put on extra healing for yourself. In bigger packs and in heroics, guys, this will change. Your priority for casting all of these as blood boils, which is I have them ready to go for this next pull, right? It will go way down. So I do have shell here for this. Lots of spell damage. Completely fine. It's going to be a huge pull. Big blood boils. But the point is, in a harder content, you're going to lean a bit more on vamp blood and death strike more into these. You'll also have to deal with aggro a little bit more because people tend to pulse. But let's do the normal things we should do. Get our buffs on. Run in. Outbreak on. Spread it. Get our shell up and blood boil these off. We can also... You'll also have people kicking in actual content too. Like you can kick these. But we don't care. Here our rune strikes are bringing back blood, which is fine because we don't really care that much. These guys are actually blasting. Here, a mage is actually doing damage. But you'll see what I'm saying, that these 1 minute CDs, you just cycle them around, and if you have nothing, you can fort. But I tend to let Vamp carry me later when I'm doing dungeoning and stuff, and just leave it as my own personal concern if I'm really worried about taking a lot of damage. That way it's in my back pocket. See, I'm at 40, so we're at 50 here. I think I'm going to try to get up to 60 before we do anything. So we go here, drop our dude, spread our diseases around. We're going to pop a big defensive here, and then we're going to Death Strike to get our runes on. And then we'll Blood Boil that one off. We'll tap it, kick that. We could have kicked that too. Not a big deal. The mage is doing a lot of damage, so we don't have to worry too much about it. But trying to give you that play-by-play. Not sure if this is really useful so far. I'll have to watch the playback and see. This stuff's just kind of a meme. It actually kind of hits hard when you have no gear in heroics, though. You're at like 330 or something, and you're trying to get to 346. And these little dudes are pesky. Some of these pulls are actually tough. In some heroics, when you have no gear, you tend to CC things like the Temple Adepts if people have bad kicks on the healing. But I look at the tools I have. This guy's just going in. He doesn't care. He wants to get out of here. Yeah, see, they kicked that thing. Not a good idea because we didn't get our bleeds, but sometimes people will do this, where they will just pull a bunch of stuff, and all you can do is just rotate your taunts, do your best. Don't worry about it too much, guys. I'm never worried about guys pulling aggro. I don't care if they kill themselves. I'm happy to sort of play the tank role of grabbing aggro. It's a little bit of a challenge, kind of fun. So I like to boil these to pull them out. D&D here, so that we can actually get our stuff, because there's like an anti-magic zone there. We did not get our dude out, but I figured we're going to have a bit of an aggro issue, so I'm preferring to just let him blood boil. So we do not have the diseases for our dude, but we do get all of the blood boil damage. And you can see the diseases don't actually do a ton in this content. They're just nice to have if you can get them out there before the pull, if that makes sense. Ooh. Those are actually... Oh no, I have those. Let's see if we can sell them. That guy blinked. I think do I die if I do this? I can't remember. No, not quite. So you can see, guys, rotating CDs is sort of the name of the game. In early content, you probably don't have to be too worried about dying or using Vamp Blood, but as you go up, you will really want to be thinking about it a lot. Often on bosses, I will taunt right away, just to make sure I get the aggro. And then we want to just get into our cycle of making sure we have one blood rune floating. So then, boom, you just popped it. There you go. Pop another one. There, I used Blood Tap. That was a bit aggressive. I didn't have to do that. Now we're looking to apply bleeds. We can stay here for another 10 seconds before we have to move. So you just count it down in your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We can go now. He goes a little early. Get our dude out and then reapply with Outbreak, so we have all the stuff on. We've got double, and then you just want to Death Strike into Rune Strike with this as much as possible. See how floating it makes it so that I'm always getting back the rune I want. That's the main thing here. Death Strike, we just popped our big button to get the damage out. And there you go, guys. About 15k single target. Out of, what eye level are we here? We're probably 300. Yeah, about 308 eye level. And that's not bad. Oh, bonus armor. Is this a trinket? Max HP. I mean, might as well take it. I don't know if we're going to use it, but I don't really want these donkeys to have it. That's a really mean thing to say. This is caster gear. So max HP stuff is interesting because it helps us with healing throughput, but Death Strike does not do more damage based on your max HP. So it's doing 330% weapon damage plus some flat amount. The damage from Death Strike is only increased by your glyph. which means if you have full RP, you get up to 40% more damage, which is what I like to run with, especially for single target type stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's roll another one. See if I get any nodes here before we get back out into the wild. No nodes. Looks like someone was just farming there. Too bad. Oh, there is a node. Bang. Out of range. See, look at this, guys. You see that guy float down? That was less than 6 seconds, and he was here already grabbing that node. It's wild out here. This is Mankirk Horde, which is one of the better servers in my opinion, just because you have a population. Benediction for Alliance is another good site. It's obviously the beginning of the X-Pack, so everybody's around having fun, but this is the time to play any kind of WoW content, is when it's happening, when people are here. Alright, let me try to do a better job of talking play-by-play for this dungeon. I'm going to just devote more attention to calling out exactly what I'm like. Look at that guy. He snuck in here. That thing just showed up. So what that means is on my screen, I'll have to watch the VOD back. On my screen it wasn't even showing up yet, and this guy caught it with his eye. You see, he's not leaving. You know why he's not leaving? Because he thought it'll respawn, which he might have been right. Okay, this dungeon has some big pulls that we can do. Again, just get going, running here. What I'm thinking in this dungeon is I want to use my outbreak on the next pull. So I'm going to just build RP so that I can get a big pull next pull. So I need above 70 or so. These guys slow you anyway, so it's not like you can do much. So we just drag them down here. We're going to keep our death grip so that when we get down here we can do a big pull with all this stuff and see what people are made of. Just make sure we have all these as death strikes. Good. So we're good to go. We can probably pull the boss onto this as well. Boss is coming around. Alright. We'll just let them know. Big pull. Drop D&D. We're going to blood boil, put up our stuff. So I still have defensives. We're going to have to do the Chains of Woe in a second. So we can still blood boil for a bit. I'm going to pop Vamp here. We can move. We're good, eh? This guy we got to grab. We got to get out of the range here. I'm going to recast all of my stuff. And we can grip this guy in finally. We're still fine, right? Like we're just blood boiling. We're chilling. This guy will pull us in. We really need to kill this Chains of Woe now. Ah, these guys are on it. They're great. So there's no troubles here. Our team is doing great. I'm watching my health to see whether I can spend my runes on the blood boils or whether I need to death strike instead, and that's basically all we need to worry about. You can kind of game Raz a little bit by getting ahead of him, pulling stuff, and if you get enough damage on the target, it'll give you the XP. But it also sometimes bugs him out where he takes forever to swipe these guys. See how that guy was putting Moonfire on him? So what I like to do is just come up here and put down D&D, so when he calls these in, we get some damage, and that sometimes... but this can also kill you, by the way. Just beware. Did we get any XP? No, he did. Some kind of percentage of the damage is the problem here. So if you do, like I think something like 2 or 3%, then it counts. There's a couple pulls down here. We're going to scoot down to the left, so this is just like the opening. Check our buffs. We just want to maintain high RP for the boss, more or less. We're just thinking about CDs. And this is, you'll almost always have to taunt one of these and grip them. Don't worry about it at all. Let your DPS plow. Your whole job here is just to keep aggro and have a blast. So if they're having fun completely nuking things, I'm great. I don't care about aggro. Let that guy pass. Actually, we'll just kill him. Doesn't matter. he walks so slow. It's just worth it for us to kill him. I'm just going to do light damage here because I want the RP so I can toss my Dancing Rune weapon out when we go downhill, because there is an AoE pack that comes. These guys pat all the way back from the boss. Does that make sense? So we cast this on here, get our Outbreak on, spread it around. We're going to taunt him over here, and then we're going to just Death Strike with our weapon. We're going to stand in the way of this. This guy will not aggro from behind, but these dudes will. So we get our stacks, we move off of there. That should be enough because the boss will die. Get this over. Ooh, yeah, we got it. Okay, so we see there I was trying my best to spread the diseases. Usually they are in a different spot, so they're a little closer to the boss, but we still got it off. So your Pestilence can go quite a long ways, in part due to the glyph of Pestilence, which is going to give you radius. Really big deal if you want to maintain pulls because you don't have to be so close in melee. This pull here, we have D&D coming up. This guy, we pull in. Oh, he just tossed those guys out of here. That's okay. We'll kick this one. I'm just kind of goofing around here. I don't even know what I'm doing. That guy messed up my pull a bit. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. This is all normal stuff, guys. Don't get worried about it. You can skip the next pack. If you have any bloodworms, they will pull. So just check around your body. I don't see any bloodworms. No little dudes. Grab this dude. Again, most of this stuff is trivial right now, guys. I'm just trying to show you thought process as a DK when we're going through these spaces. And the thought process is check which CDs you have, pool RP for your Dancing Rune weapon, and more than anything, have fun. So we don't have Outbreak ready, but we did have Dancing Rune weapon, so we just fire him off. Boom, boom, big damage. See, Heart Strike does a lot of damage too, but it's not anywhere near. Look at what the rune weapon was doing, guys. Crazy. So that's what is his Death Strike. Look at the rune weapon's Death Strike. Pretty good. This pull here, since we've got damage, I'll show you how we pull the boss with both of these fire boys. So there's two fire boys down here. Again, we're going to lean on the first portion with damage reduction from anti-magic shell. Big pull again. We're going to pull the boss through. You see he's on the other side here. So we are going to grab him. These guys don't like aggro, so we're going to make sure we focus on them. Spread diseases. Make sure you get enough slaps on these dudes. Someone's going out. And we shell now because we're going to take a lot of damage. We're watching for his little shield to come up on his. There's the shield on his user frame, so we got to pull him through the fire. He kind of blasts everyone down. We'll use Vamp here. We don't need it, but you can see the point here. Actually, we didn't. I was going to apply. I reapplied diseases, and I really didn't need to. I could have just burst down. Diseases are only a minor part of what you're doing, so don't feel the need to always have them up. They do improve your damage, of course. So the diseases on target make your other stuff hit, but it doesn't matter that much. We do have weapons, so we'll cast it. Oh, spread things around, and then we're going to blood boil. Again, we're just using anti-magic shell to avoid basically all of this nasty damage. The boars do a crap load. Actually, boar might be physical. I'm not sure about that. I should check. I will double check that for you guys, because that might be physical damage. Just make sure no one aggro on the way through. Just grab that guy, bring him back down. Spread, boil, because we need the death and decay down. I'm going to Death Strike off of that. What I meant by that was I tapped to get myself a rune back, so I'm still floating that one blood rune, but I tapped so that I could use it with one of my other ones. That was in part to be efficient, because I wanted to press a GCD Death Strike, but it was also because I was taking a lot of damage and I didn't have a CD I wanted to press. So we have a couple of CDs here. I'm going to use them all. We're going to pull all of this and tank them kind of over here on this side. I do have Outbreak. I'm going to start here, get lucky, pull him in. We got to get these up, make sure we get damage on the boss. We can just sit in this. So just watch, guys. I'm going to hold my CDs for a minute, and then I'm going to press Vamp, and we'll Death Strike ourselves back, respread our diseases on the little guys, and we'll respread them back to the boss in a second. We're going to zone here, spread the diseases back, and then I tap to Death Strike again to get myself back. We are standing in bad, okay? Just so everyone is aware of that. We got feared out of it, no problem. He's almost dead. We are standing in bad. I know the healer probably does not like it, but it's kind of fun because these guys all have a big breath and they cast a ground effect, and I just wanted you to see that you can mitigate all of that by using your CDs wisely. Again, I am not in danger at all. I haven't even tapped this. No, that's not for us. And you can do this on heroic too, even when you're under geared. I mean, you really got to watch your CDs and plan out death strikes properly. But I didn't tap. I didn't use Icebound. I didn't use Sack. All of these tools are still available. Most of your gameplay is going to be wisely rotating which ones you're using. So let's see. I don't have enough power even with my 2 buffs to get back, so we are just going to put D&D down. Blood Boil twice to get aggro, and then we'll toss down the combo. We're going to do Weapon, Outbreak, spread it. I'm going to Ice Fortitude here after I get some RP, just because we haven't used it. You can see Death Strike a bit, and then we'll Blood Boil, tap for another couple Blood Boils. You could also Heart Strike at this point. Either is fine. One of the other reasons to really focus on Blood Boil over Heart Strike is you get Crimson procs, so you're getting automatic Blood Boil procs. Oops, did that wrong. So you don't want to miss them, and just spamming out your buttons will let you do that. So I'm just Death Striking into Rune Strike. We just will not have GCDs available to do much Heart Striking because of how much RP we have. And we have a CD here too, so we get basically 1 Heart Strike every like 4 or 5 casts because of how much stuff we have. You can see the cadence. Now we're low, we just pop all of our runes again with Empowered Rune Weapon, and off you go. I hope that was helpful, guys. Just a couple of tips in terms of your gameplay going through. I really would suggest getting into the habit of leading with D&D when you can, but thinking about your CDs in terms of 30 seconds, your outbreak spreads, and your rotation of your 1-minute cooldowns between anti-magic, shell if you need it, or vamp blood, or fortitude, I guess, as well. I didn't even get into sack and tap, but you get the cadence of it. There's not like a lot of damage going out right now. I'm just going to go check my node since I can get in instantly to queues, see if someone's here. See, look at these guys are flying around. This is crazy. I've never seen it like this. It's actually a lot of fun because in the retail version of this game, which I still like, the mining and the herbalism gameplay is very lackluster because there's no pressure. You do not feel inclined to pay attention. You just send your dude on his route. If you see a herb, if it's been tapped, there's a window of time where it's going to be available to you or someone else. Here, if you get there, it's yours. If someone else gets there, you're screwed. Anyways, I hope that was helpful, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure I'm messing some things up. Once I get going on Heroic Dungeons, I will do some Blood DK guides. For that, I'm just been having fun doing professions to take a break from the dungeon grind up to 85, but we're getting there. We'll catch you again next time.